When Japanese artist Yayoi Kusama first moved to New York City, she stood at the top of the Empire State Building and made a promise to herself. She would become world famous for her paintings, her sculptures, and her extraordinary creative energy. She was thousands of miles away from home, and she finally felt free. Yayoi was born in Matsumoto, a city in Japan surrounded by mountains and nature. Her parents owned a seed nursery which grew flowers to sell across the country. Yayoi would sit in the flower beds with her sketchbook and get lost in her imagination. She knew, even when she was very young, that she wanted to be an artist. But her parents were against the idea. At the time, most artists in Japan were men. Yayoi's mum wanted Yayoi to become a housewife. They got into terrible fights, but Yayoi was rebellious and unstoppable. When her mum snatched away her canvases, she used old sacks instead. One day, Yayoi was sitting in the flower beds when all the flowers seemed to come to life. Their heads were like dots that went on as far as she could see. She felt as if she was being obliterated or breaking into little pieces and disappearing into a field of endless dots. After Yayoi got home, she sketched lots and lots of the never-ending fields of flowers and what she'd seen in the field. Drawing helped her to feel calmer and more in control. She could break herself into dots or self-obliterate and become one with her surroundings. She also used dots to connect with other people, like in this drawing of her mum. A few years later, Yayoi saw the work of a famous and much older artist called Georgia O'Keeffe, who lived across the world in America. She decided to send Georgia a letter and some watercolor paintings she'd made. To her surprise, Georgia replied and even said she showed the watercolors to her art dealer. The letter was the start of a new adventure. Yayoi would later write, "If Georgia had not answered my letter, I'm not sure I would ever have made it to America. It was because of her that I was able to go to the USA and begin my artist career in earnest." When Yayoi was 27 years old, she packed 2,000 drawings into her suitcase and got on a plane. Away from her parents, she could paint from morning to night. She worked on giant canvases and became known for putting dots on walls, on clothes, on people, even on a horse. Yayoi found lots of fans who wanted her to paint dots on their bodies so they could become a part of her artworks. She finally met Georgia O'Keeffe in person and made friends with other famous American artists, including Andy Warhol, Joseph Cornell, and Donald Judd. But like in Japan, most of the artists in New York were men. Yayoi had to work extra hard to stand out, and sometimes this would leave her feeling exhausted and anxious. But making art was a safe space for her, where she could feel at peace. Now in her 90s, Yayoi is famous around the world for her work, just like she promised herself that day at the Empire State Building. She sees herself as a single dot, and everyone in the world is a dot, connected to another dot. Our Earth is like one little polka dot among millions of other celestial bodies, she once wrote. Let's forget ourselves and become one with the universe. When do you feel most connected with the world? And what would that look like in a drawing?
At the start of the project, this room was completely white. White ceiling, white floor, white walls, white furniture. People come in, they are given a sheet of coloured stickers in different sizes, which have been produced especially for the project and in accordance with the artist's specifications. Her choice of colour, her choice of finish and her choice of size. And then everybody is invited to place the stickers anywhere they like in the room, according to any pattern, any idea they have, anything they like they can do with the stickers. Kusama is best known for her brilliantly coloured dotted surfaces, her installations with blow-ups and her walls covered in brilliant spots.
I saw stickers and we put stickers on the wall. I wish I could have a house like the sticker house. But there's no food there. Sticker food? Polka dots with rice. I would like to do this whole thing if no one had came up with it before me. Everything is off. The favorite part is when all the pumpkins look shiny. You couldn't touch the pumpkins. When you kick them, they break.
What do you think the artist is like?
I think she's in her 50s. A really old 30-year-old lady. I think 90s. And she has polka dots on her.
Would you want to take one of these paintings home to your house?
students, it's now time to create your own Yayoi Kusama pumpkin. As you can see here, we have lots of colors to choose from. So you're going to first choose what kind of shape of pumpkin and what color. We're going to start with a big oval shape, and then we're going to add some additional oval shapes. We added 2 outside ones, and we're going to add 2 more to the outside, starting from the middle and working your way down. And we're going to add a stem at the top. And you can see now there's different ones, and you can see that also we're going to add some dots. Now there's a variety of dots. Thick dots in the middle, and then thinner dots on the side. We'll trace it with Sharpie, and then we're going to add the dot pattern around the sides. Alright, so here we go. See how you can see different kinds of dots? There's circles, but there's different sizes. Add your dots and pattern. Now we're going to color our pumpkins with markers, but not the whole thing, just the outside. And we want to leave the middle white, like this. Then we're going to take a little water with our brush, and because this is washable markers, it will wet the marker and make it mix in the middle, which makes a lighter shade, which makes them look more three-dimensional. So here's what a final project will look like with coloring. And then also look at this background with the line triangle shapes drawn with white pastel or a different color on your background. Good job, have fun.